Hi everyone, it's Eva here. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to a brand new interior design and architecture explained episode. And for today, we're delving into modern farmhouse because that's what you guys voted for. So let's get started. Modern farmhouse is a very comfy and cozy style that is now more popular than ever. In many ways, it's a response to the minimalist modern trend that's been also on the rise in popularity. People seem to be looking to embrace tradition and surround themselves with things that just make them feel good. How popular modern farmhouse is very apparent in lots of TV shows where this style is frequently used, especially HGTV's Fixer Upper, that basically made this style super popular within the span of a decade. Before Chip and Joanna Gaines, modern farmhouse only rang a couple of bells, but ever since the duo started to incorporate this style in their designs, modern farmhouse became an actual trend. Let's delve into a couple of general characteristics. Modern farmhouse evokes the feeling of warmth and comfort. It's traditional without being fussy, classic without being a museum, and comfortable in a way that you just want to hang out and relax. Modern farmhouse is similar to very classic styles like country, for example, except that those styles are a bit more leaning towards the kitschy side of things, whereas modern farmhouse still contains a level of sophistication. For example, country relies heavily on accessories, whereas modern farmhouse keeps everything to a minimum. So basically, this contemporary yet cozy style is allowing more personality than classic modern city sleeks, for example, and more calmness than traditional rural settings. At the same time, modern farmhouse is a very fresh look and it embraces natural elements and imperfections throughout. And I also really love this comparison that I read that says, modern farmhouse celebrates the historic. It reminds us of simpler times without forcing us to give up any of the contemporary lifestyle items which we are accustomed to. I thought that was quite fitting. Now let's move on to the exterior. First of all, white is one of the most classic colours for modern farmhouses to be painted in. During colonial times, whitewash was used as a preventative against mildew. Today, that is less of a concern, but people have decided to keep that whitewash going and have added contrasting, usually black highlights, for example, in light fixtures. Farmhouses typically used to be built in a rectangular shape and then added onto it depending on if the family grew. While modern farmhouse also retains that rectangular shape, there are some more architectural elements that make that shape more interesting. Also, classic farmhouses used to have gabled roofs, which is another element that modern farmhouse is taking over. Gabled or A-shaped roofs are still a huge characteristic of modern farmhouses, and they're usually kept in colours of black or grey. Another exterior feature of modern farmhouse are huge windows. Daylight is a very big deal in modern farmhouses, which is why you'll often find 2/2 windows in modern farmhouses. One of the most essential characteristics of the exterior of a modern farmhouse is the large covered porch. Many homeowners will add rocking chairs and porch swings with comfy pillows and throws to enhance the kind of comfy vibe. Also, while exterior lighting choices are fairly limited in modern farmhouses, they're usually barn-style lighting and have like an industrial vibe to them, for example if they're made from black metal. Carriage-style garage doors are also very popular in modern farmhouses. They're basically characterized by the fact that they can swing out, just like usual barn doors do, and 1 or 2 diagonal pieces to create this kind of X shape. Another feature are large front doors and house numbers. Doors are usually kept in the colors black, grey, blue or white, and houses are generally marked with huge house numbers. And last but not least, the landscaping. The landscaping is usually kept very simple in modern farmhouses. In the past, a farmhouse would have been surrounded by lots of blooming flowers in all sorts of different colours and shapes. The modern version is a bit more minimalistic with boxwood and shrubs. Now let's move on to the interior. First up, the colour palette. As you're probably aware, and like what you associate first with a modern farmhouse is neutrals. They can be either warm or cool depending on your choice. So for example, you could have cream, beige, silver or grey, and then these colours are usually layered with wooden tones. Of course, if you're a big fan of colours, you can always add a touch of colour here and there, but in general, it should be kept kind of neutral. The reason for this rather strict colour scheme is that a lot of colour can easily look very eclectic, and the neutral colours make your home feel more curated, as expected from a modern home. And here's the key word, modern. The modern part means that you can add contrasting darker colours into the creamy kind of setting. And honestly, don't be afraid to add black. Black is a very good contrasting colour for the neutrals and usually perfectly balances all the other patterns and colours in the room. As well as black, you can also look into inky blues, emerald greens, and charcoal greys. Other colour options are denser natural greens, blues and pinks, and even terracottas that can be used both on walls as well as in accents. So for example, handles or backsplash, anything like that. If you're not feeling too bold with colours, that's perfectly fine. You can just add some more softer pastel colours, such as pastel pink or sage green. These work really well with this environment. They add a lovely feminine touch, but at the same time stay really modern. Onto materials. So where modern is very strict with very streamlined, elegant, smooth surfaces, for example, like stainless steel, polished stones, anything like that, Modern Farmhouse is a bit more relaxed in that department and really likes combining natural finishes. One of those, for example, is reclaimed wood. So wood in general is a big part of Modern Farmhouse, but reclaimed wood, which has sometimes even like imperfections or scratches, some kind of wear and tear that really brings personality to the room, is completely fine in Modern Farmhouse. Because modern farmhouses are largely made up of neutral colours, it is important to add some texture to it so it doesn't look too bland. That also is done with the use of materials. So for example, by mixing wood and metals, or using materials like cotton, canvas, wool, whatever else you like really. Basically just make sure the rooms don't look flat. Like I mentioned before, metals are a good way to incorporate the modern side of things. That can be light fixtures, hardware, railings of stairs, etc. And I found a rule of thumb that you should not mix more than 3 metals in one room. Another reason for using very natural materials is the connection to the outside that is very apparent in farmhouses and rustic country homes. So obviously wood floors and, for example, beams, stuff like that are the best way to do that, but maybe also consider including, for example, stone or wicker or any other kind of natural materials. Other materials that really add to the contemporary rustic feel are, for example, exposed brick walls, untreated raw woods, and even leathers. Regarding walls and flooring, there's basically not too much to say. I mentioned this already, but basically wide plank floors are very, very common. Walls are usually white or kept in very neutral colors as well. And one of my favorite things about Modern Farmhouse are actually the exposed beams. Structural details like the beams just shouldn't be covered up. They kind of add the age and the history of this rustic vibe to it, and they also often increase the height of the room, so that gives you more space and it makes you feel less crammed. Adding beams into your own home kind of reminds you of the classic barn look, which obviously is what Modern Farmhouse is all about. Onto the furniture. So in general, furniture just should be really inviting and want you to sit down and relax and like just have a chill day. Nothing should look too delicate to touch. So like as in modern homes, they often are compared to museums where it's like, oh, if I touch this, it's really expensive. Nothing should really feel like that. It just should feel really inviting and homely. The same thing really goes for accessories. Of course, you want to accessorize your home, and that's totally fine. Not too cluttered, but obviously some nice touches here and there are obviously needed. None of that should be too expensive or too delicate, and usually they're things that you use very regularly. The kitchen is actually the perfect place to kind of start and also showcase the Modern Farmhouse vibes. It's kind of the heart of the home. It's a really warm and comforting space, which is why obviously a lot of people love doing Modern Farmhouse kitchens. And to achieve that, for example, shaker cabinets are the #1 item you want to go to. They are very clean lines and boxy profiles, usually with brushed metal handles, and are literally like so farmhouse, nothing beats that. The good thing is, even though they might look a bit more like vintage or farmhouse, the modern appliances actually give it this modern touch again, which is why for appliances you want to go for more modern equipment rather than very retro shapes and forms. Countertops are usually granite and appliances are usually stainless steel, typical for modern design. Something that I personally love is raw wood dining tables. They are very, very common in Modern Farmhouse interiors. Usually really, really big, so the whole family can gather around and sit and eat at the table. Now onto accessories. Obviously accessories are important, I mentioned this already, but try and not overdo it and squeeze in an accessory in every single corner. Just have a few well-placed accessories that kind of breathe life into the room. It might sound strange, but a room can actually be really cozy without having to be cluttered. Now, those are all the infos that I gathered about the exterior and interior of modern farmhouse designs, but obviously you're probably wondering, how can I recreate those in The Sims 4? And that is a good question. Because I personally have never built a modern farmhouse, I can't really give you my favorite items in each pack like I usually do, but I will name a couple of packs that I think will include great items to combine the modern as well as the farmhouse aspect in this. And while I'm naming all these packs, I am showing you some interiors in The Sims 4 made by my lovely friend Julia Builds, who does the most amazing modern farmhouse builds. So if you haven't already, do check her out and you can get lots of inspiration from her builds. So about my recommendations of packs to use for a modern farmhouse build, I need to say that anything that I said for the modern episode definitely goes for this as well, because that includes obviously the modern details and the modern parts of this kind of style. So instead of repeating all of the modern packs and items that you can literally see in that episode that I will link for you in the top right, I will just name a couple packs and explain why those are useful for the rustic side of modern farmhouse. So of the expansion packs, I would say the two best packs for furniture that is more farmhouse style are Cats and Dogs and Seasons. Cats and Dogs is very country, so it is like very classic country, but it has great swatches and great items that you can transform in order to create this modern style, especially if you combine it with modern items. And Seasons is also, I wouldn't say as much on the countryside, but more on the nature side. I think there's a lot of nature inspired elements in there. For example, a wooden side table that literally is like a block of wood. I love that thing. So it has like these kind of nature and seasons obviously inspired items, so I can definitely recommend those. Of the game packs, I probably would only say Parenthood. Parenthood has some great furniture that is going towards the direction of modern farmhouse. It's obviously more colorful and more like out there than actual modern farmhouse style, but it has great kitchen counters, for example. I think they scream modern farmhouse to me, and lots of little details that are really great. Of the stuff packs, I think the main pack that is going in the direction of modern farmhouse is the laundry pack, or what's it called, laundry day stuff. That one has a very rustic and very country style, so it's not, I wouldn't say it's modern at all, but that's really cool because that way you can kind of combine the country with modern from other packs. But that pack has really, really great decoration items. There's like a stack of some plants and like just decoration that looks so cute, and I really, really recommend that pack for farmhouse purposes. And last but not least, which may not be surprising, is the new type of pack, the kits. So there's a country kitchen kit that I showed all the contents and all the cabinet swatches of on my community tab. So if you have a look there, if you, like, for example, don't have the pack yet and want to see what it entails, you can go there and see all of it. Basically, the country kitchen kit again is very, very country and very rustic. For example, the kitchen counters all include wear and tear. They're very rustic, but I think combined with modern details, that could look really, really good. And I'm sure Julia will do some kind of magic and show us some way to use the new kitchen counters from that kit. So yeah, that's it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I personally learned a lot about this style because, like I said, I've never built in it. I find it visually really pleasing. I just don't think I'm a very rustic, country connected person, so to me, I wouldn't personally want to recreate this in my own home. So yeah, it was really, really interesting to find out about all the different features that you just, you take it in as a whole, and then to see it one by one just listed, it just makes so much sense, and it's like, whoa, I don't know, for me that's just how I feel. Also, I just want to say I'm not an interior designer or an architect or anything. I am not an expert on this topic, and I just educated myself about this, so that's the information that I'm passing on to you guys. Like I said, I really hope you enjoyed the video, and I can't wait to see you on Wednesday with a new Sims 4 speed build. Bye!